Hello. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, December 10th. Thanks for picking up, guys. I sure appreciate it. I sure appreciate it. So what's funny is I didn't really have anything to talk about this morning. When I woke up, I was like, damn, I didn't write any notes. I didn't look anything up. I was so exhausted for whatever reason when I got back from work yesterday. I was like, damn, I don't know what I'm going to say when I got up here. But then I saw Pastor Jamal Bryant talking about how Target shares are down to $83. And I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? Like now, if it was just normally like just going down for any other reason, that might be a good time to go buy some Target shares. But knowing that people aren't really going to Target, it's like these shares could possibly go down. It's not a situation where Target's going to be up anytime soon. So that's not a good investment, right? So I was like, dag. And it reminded me of what's going on currently in when it comes to the battle of the sexes or men and women and all of the things, the so-called male loneliness epidemic and things like that. It reminded me of that because what Target has failed to do is adapt to the current situation, the current environment, the changes that are there, inevitable, and here to stay, right? Because Target is a big box store, but we don't need anything from that particular store to get the same things we've been needing. There are other stores, right? And the last 3 quarters proves this. So whatever is going to happen to Target and however that's going to look and work is just how it is. But it just reminded me of what's going on in relationships right now. And so I did I want to address these things because it's just kind of like failure to adapt is why people believe right now that there's a male loneliness epidemic, and that's not true. There isn't a male loneliness epidemic. Now, let me tell you something that I saw. So this guy was on his page complaining that in Miami, one of the clubs in Miami was charging $30,000 for a section. Okay? Follow me here. $30,000 for a section in a club in Miami. The bottle girls get 20%. So they would make $6,000. Okay? If you sit down for 30, they make 6. He's pissed because he feels like, is the bottle girl doing enough work to get the $6,000? His failure to adapt comes when he doesn't see where this isn't about whether she makes 20%. This is about why does it cost $30,000 to sit down in the first place. That's the first thing that needs to be addressed as to whether or not she deserves or worked hard enough to get $6,000. She's getting 20%. That's how much they charge. That's how much it is. The question is, why are they charging $30,000 for you to sit in the first place? Is the alcohol going to pour itself? Is the cup going to get drunk on your behalf and drive you home? No. So you're not mad that somebody's willing to come up off of 30 freaking stacks. You're mad because you feel like she might make $6,000 and whatever she does isn't worth her getting $6,000. It ain't never cost nobody $6,000. It ain't never been worth $30,000 to sit anywhere. So let's address that first, okay? Without addressing the things that needs to be addressed first, addressing the second thing and the results of that will always be problematic, okay? We talk about how things have changed with women, but we don't talk about how women have only had certain rights for 50 years. And I always talk about this because it is important to me. And I have a daughter. I'm not even 50 years old yet. So never mind that as soon as the door got open for women kicked it down, right? The fact of the matter is we need men to stop worried about what we're doing and realize that none of your rights have been taken, threatened, or anything, okay? Women can't get an abortion, but they still haven't come up with birth control for men. That doesn't make any sense, okay? So he's mad that she's making $6,000. He feels like she shouldn't make $6,000 without him addressing the fact that it costs $30,000 in the first place to sit. It's okay if a man or somebody wants to spend, and we're going to go with a man because that's clearly who he's talking about. It's okay for a man to spend $30,000, but it's not okay for a woman to profit $6,000 off of it, even though she's going to be the one doing the work. Pouring the bottles, bringing it out. And yeah, he thinks it's just bottles. It's just this. It is. It is just only that. You're right. And it costs $30,000 to just do only that. So why shouldn't she make $6,000 off of just that? The fact of the matter is some people make a lot of money doing things that we feel like it's not worth it. But that's not your problem. It's like you apply for a job like that then. As long as there's somebody willing to pay, it doesn't really matter. It's just like when people talk about prostitution, right? As if that's supposed to be shameful. Prostitution is the oldest profession on the books or off the books, depending on how you go about getting your escort. However, as long as there's men willing to pay, there will always be a woman willing to do whatever the service is. That's just it. That's just it. So then I saw another thing where the man was mad because he felt like you're willing to lay on your back and have sex, but you drawing the line at cooking and cleaning. Yeah, because I get something from having sex. I get nothing out of cooking and cleaning. Okay? What are we talking about here? It all goes back to everybody wants to be able to benefit from the relationship they're in. The idea that somebody shouldn't benefit or shouldn't want to benefit is problematic. Things have changed, and it's only been 50 years. Like I said, I'm not even 50 yet. Women have not been enjoying life and bank accounts and property women have only been enjoying it for 50 years. Only 50 years. This has never been a problem for men. Okay? So, to me, that's a perfect example of the inability or the unwillingness to adapt to a situation. Target is unwilling to adapt to DEI, and so therefore, they're going to take an L for 3/4 straight. Males are unwilling to adapt to the fact that women now have autonomy and can participate in economy in a way that they have not. Your failure to adapt, your unwillingness to adapt and accept that is why you think you're lonely, but you're not. You're not. Now, I pointed this out the other day when I talked about Megan and Ciara. They chose better, and that's a problem. That's a problem for a lot of men because men are unwilling to adapt to the changes needed in order to not be lonely. If I'm telling you that I like the color blue or I want you to do these things, if you're going to tell me, well, you're asking for too much, then I get to say, okay, and I understand that. If that's too much for you to do, I understand that, and I'm going to pass on this opportunity for me to not get the things that I want out of this. The idea that I'm not supposed to want something out of a relationship is ludicrous, and I will never recommend it, talk about it in a positive way, or believe that that's okay, because it's not. I have a young daughter to raise. I got plenty of girlfriends, good girlfriends, best friends. I'm never going to make it seem like it's all good for them to be in any situation where they're taking a freaking L, because it's not. It's not. It's not. Okay? It's not. And so it's annoying. It's annoying to watch stories and everybody, all these males be so upset about things that it's like, you can control that. You don't have to have money like Clay. You don't have to have money like Russell Wilson. But being able to buy flowers, being able to apologize when you pick somebody up late from the airport, you can't do that. That's something that's just, that's a step too far. Yeah, and so that means later on, don't nobody want you jumping all up on top of them. Go ahead, and that's it. So then I saw another dude on his thing saying how he's tired of being alone. He needs a woman around. He needs, somebody to talk to. He needs the ambiance that a woman brings. He's tired of eating the same meals over and over and over again. Sir, what does a woman have to do with ambiance, talking to somebody, and meals? How did a woman get in that? Then he said he wanted to be appreciated for what he brought to the table. Sir, you just listed the things that you wanted a woman to do for you without you listing the things that you want to be appreciated for. What is it that you want to be appreciated for? Name them. Name them. In my Sutton voice. Name them. What is it that you want to be appreciated for? Not because there isn't something for you to be appreciated for, but it's like, name it. Call a spade a spade. Point out the thing that you're talking about. What are you saying that you want to be appreciated for? Let's discuss it. Let's put that on the table so we could decide if it makes sense. You see what I'm saying? And so, again, your failure to adapt, your unwillingness to be nice, to buy flowers. I love flowers. And I would never forget when I was in high school, this guy used to buy me flowers like every week, every other week. You went to high school with me. If you know, you know. He loved me real bad. Okay? He bought me flowers like every other week. And I didn't know any better. I was like, what? I mean, we're 15 and I'm just looking like, what the hell? But at the same time, I was being fast. And so I definitely wasn't thinking about him. You know what I'm saying? I had other things going on in the hood that I was doing. And so that was the last thing on my mind. You know what I mean? But as I got older and things like that, of course, when you think about something as simple as flowers, I love flowers. If flowers is too much of a gesture for you as a man, if it's something you feel like you're wasting your money on, right? That's fine. That's fine. Because if the lady is telling you she likes flowers and then you think, well, I don't buy flowers, well, then there's your loneliness epidemic. Because you're not willing to do what's going to get her going and what's going to motivate her. You're not willing to do that. When it's time to buy an engagement ring, if I say I want this and you're telling me a ring don't matter, well, then what the hell am I getting married for? Because I'm telling you I want a beautiful piece of jewelry and I want it to look like this. And you're trying to convince me that a ring doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. So you're telling me that me wanting a piece of jewelry don't matter. Okay. So don't get it. And then we don't have to get married. Because I'm not getting married without my piece of jewelry that I want. I want to be with somebody who wants me to have things that I want. I want to be able to be with somebody who I can give them the things that they want. It's not for me to say whether I think they deserve. If you feel like somebody doesn't deserve it, why are you there? Why are you there? The truth has already been determined. You're here because, or you're up in my business, you're on my phone, you're on my line, because my point has already been proven. That's why you're here. That's the real truth of why you're here. You know what I mean? So now it's time for me to start proving something to you in order for what to happen now. You know what I mean? Like, and the truth is, nobody have time for that. And then the truth on top of that is, we too old. We got to remember, my generation, Gen X, we think we younger than we are, and we're not. We're not. We too old for you to be thinking about OD building with somebody, trying to see, like, how much time do you have? Because I don't know that personally, I'm not getting ready to spend if I got 30 years ahead of me, I'm not spending that on somebody in hopes that they will marry me, buy me flowers. I don't have to wait on any of that. The flowers are right there and I can get them. Okay? And I don't have to do any cooking and cleaning to have a man around to have company. That's for certain. Men are a freaking dozen a dozen. You hit it out the park every time. No one's around here rejecting and saying, like, no, I don't want to, you know what I mean? You can line any set of men up and be like, who wants to go out tonight? Who wants to go do something? Somebody's ready to do it. And the truth is, most of them are going to look around and see what the other person is going to say before they jump and say, oh, okay, because a lot of times they're followers. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. That could be for another topic. But it annoys me. And it reminds me of a story that one of my girlfriends told me. Okay? So this guy delivers her TV. Right? And then he wants to know from her, does she have anybody to mount the TV? So she's like, no, blah, blah, blah. He was like, I can help you with that. They come up with a price. They come up with a date for him to come over to mount the TV. He's the one who delivered the TV. Okay. The day before it's time to deliver the TV, he gives her a call earlier in that day to confirm that the time for him to come over. Okay. Now, meanwhile, He calls her earlier in that day. He confirms the time that he's going to come over and mount the TV. But then he wants to ask her a personal question. And he wants to know, is she single? Yes, I'm single. Oh, okay. So, are you dating right now? Things like that. She's like, oh, no, I'm not doing that right now. I'm just working on myself, doing my, minding my business, okay, and drinking my water. So then he says, but if you met the right man, would you, let me stop you right there, sir, because you're not listening. If I say that I'm not dating right now, there is no such thing as me meeting the right man. You're deeply underestimating what me saying I'm not dating right now means. I'm not dealing with y'all right now. There is no right man for me to meet because I'm not interested right now. So again, the whole idea when you know you don't like somebody, you giving somebody a chance. What are we talking about? A chance to do what? Except piss me off. Because I just told you that I'm not dating anybody right now. And I had a story about this earlier this summer when I told y'all I had to get my tire fixed and things like that. How about he never came over for the appointment to mount the TV? Sir, this was not a free service. You weren't getting ready to do me a favor. The favor that you thought you were going to do me was to give little lonely me some company. That's what you thought. And when you realized that I didn't want that company, I just wanted you to do what you wanted to do. I just wanted you to do the service we discussed. You didn't even want to get your money, right? So here it goes back to his original question. If you met the right guy, sir, the right guy would have got his money regardless. The right guy would have offered me that service for free and then maybe asked me out on a date. That's what being a good guy is about. Just the basics. You know what I'm saying? He took a L on getting money either way or getting something out of it either way. You didn't even give her an opportunity to like you. You asked her about her being single. Ooh, that accident is terrible. Jesus Christ. But, and so that's a huge example of why it's like, don't nobody have time, y'all. Y'all are not lonely. Y'all just don't want to adapt. You don't want to listen. And as a result, the women are going, okay, sir. Then okay. Don't get me flowers. Don't mount my TV. The guys want to know, you're going to die alone with a cab. And who's going to change your tire? The guy that, AAA. AAA. It doesn't matter to me either way whether a man or a woman shows up to do the service. I'm going to pay for the service. If the guy that I'm with can't do the service himself, somebody has to be paid, right? If you got a husband and he don't know how to change a tire, then you still have to call somebody to change the tire. You're still going to have to pay somebody else, okay? You get with the right guy knows that we hiring a maid service because there's no way you think that I want to clean up. Why do you think that that's something that I want to do? I don't. I don't want to clean up the same way you don't want to clean up. I don't want to be slaving all over the stove all day the same way you don't want to slave over the stove all day. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested. That's not a fun activity that I want to do. The idea that I'm supposed to do that, or that's supposed to be fun for me, or I'm exchanging that service in order to have a guy around, unacceptable. And no thank you. No thank you. And so somebody else mounted her TV up. She got Enrique to come mount the TV up. Enrique ain't asked no questions. He did his job and got the hell up out of there. Okay? That guy had two options, and he didn't use either one of them, plus he didn't get paid. You big dummy. I like a man. The right man for me would have got his money some kind of way, or he'd have got his date some kind of way, or found a way, some kind of way. He'd have let me pay him, and then he would have found a way to put that money back in my pocket by taking me out later. Like, you didn't even try to build on that. You just wanted her to want something, and when she didn't want it, you thought you was taking something away from her that she was willing to pay for in the first place. As long as I'm willing to pay for it, you can't make me pay the price about something personal. When business comes in, I'm willing to pay. I don't need you to mount the TV up. I need the TV mounted up, which means it doesn't matter who does it. It doesn't matter if it's free. It doesn't matter if I have to pay. That's something that I need done. And so that's a perfect example of your inability to adapt. Okay? You wanted me to want something, and when I didn't want it, you didn't even want to try. You didn't even have to ask all those questions. You could have waited until you got to her house, mounted the TV, and been like, I got you. Let me take you out. If she said no, he could have been like, okay, or he could have got paid and then said, let me take you out. There's so many ways that the TV could have got mounted up, and he could have at least tried to be friends with her. But he didn't see the value in the friendship unless he was going to get something out of it. And what he failed to realize was what you were offering as far as something personal was not something she wanted. So she wasn't taking a loss anywhere. You took a loss twice. Let me see if it's a line, because I got to skip. Trife. What's happening right now, y'all, in the dating world is called natural selection. As soon as the laws were lifted up for women, yeah, you're right. It's true. 80% of women got the hell up out of there. And women are going to continue to be the initiators of divorce. Okay? That's just how it's going to play out. Natural selection is at an all-time high. Everybody don't get a woman. Everybody don't get to have a baby. It's just not what it is. And the reason why it seems like they did before was only because of laws that were put in place. That must be addressed and acknowledged. And if you're not willing to address it and acknowledge it as a man, you're going to always feel like loneliness. You see what I'm saying? You need to be doing the work to deconstruct those ideas, because the women are not with that shit. And the women that are with it, the women who do want to cook and clean for you, that's not who y'all want. There's plenty of women out here willing to do the things that you want them to do. But that's not who you want. You want a bitch like me to do it when you know damn well I don't want to. I ain't doing it. I'm not interested. And I love cooking, right? I don't love cleaning. I don't. Well, let me retract that and resubmit. When I cook, I get busy. Okay, if you know, you know. I don't love cleaning, and I don't love cooking. But when I do cook, I get it in. But that's not a job that I want to have just so I can have a guy around. I don't want him to feel like he can't eat unless I cook. I don't want a man looking at me thinking, you don't want to clean your own house? You don't want to clean your own house? Hell no. That's not a chore that I want to do. If I could pay somebody to do it, I will do that. Now, if I get them married and moving with somebody else going to have to help clean. Especially if he's not going to do it. Because he can't think that I'm going to sit here and do it. There's no way that when you get with somebody, he goes from being able to do the dishes to not doing the dishes because you there. Because I don't work here. I don't. I do things that need to be done. I look around my house. I see a need. I see something that needs to be, a need that needs to be filled, and I fill it. I don't need anybody to tell me that needs to be done. It's a list. I don't need that. So I don't expect to get with somebody, and then now that's suddenly my job to figure out. You see what I'm saying? Like, no. Nobody's interested in that. That's not sexy. Okay? That's not getting anybody going, if you know what I mean, all up and through here. That's not going to get anybody motivated. Okay? And again, there's nothing wrong if you want to be a cook and a cleaner or whatever, a maid, a mattress, and a mule, as they say. You go ahead. Knock yourself right on out. Nobody's trying to stop you. But I am trying to stop myself. There is no reason for me to partner up with somebody and then I suddenly take on all the responsibility of that partnership, right? While I also have to hear him saying that he's not being allowed to lead, okay? Because as we know, most women are out here, that's a woman, traditionally a woman's domain is the household. She knows appointments, she's scheduling appointments, she knows the teacher's name, she knows where the school is. That's leadership. That's leadership, that's how that works. If you're not being allowed to lead and somebody allows you, those are the duties you're going to have to take over if you want to be the head of your household. The head of the household is the person that's running all of those things. Am I right or am I right? That's the head of the household. So if you want to be the head of the household, those are those are the tasks that you're going to need to do in order to get the respect of being the head of the household. Now, let me tell you something about respect. I've seen a couple of things where the males are saying they would rather have respect over love. And that's fine. You know what I mean? That's fine. Whatever you're saying you want, once again, find somebody who wants to give that to you, and y'all can ride off into the sunset. But you have to know that what respect is. And respect is about someone's admiration for you and the things that you do. Right? If you're not giving me something to admire, what are you talking about? And not because you need to be disrespected, but it's just that it's like, listen. Because, see, I'm not trying to trade love for respect. If you want to be with me, you're going to do both. You're going to love and respect me. And if you're not going to do that, then you're going to get the hell on. You're going to find somebody else who's willing to only take what you want to give. At my tender age, I'm still a tenderoni. At my tender age, it's a lot that I'm not trading off for any reason. I don't have to. Plus, more importantly, I don't want to. I'm not interested. Okay? Because like I said, having male company is always going to be a dozen. Okay? And once you leave, it's like now I ain't got you running up my hot water, drinking up all my baby juice, okay? Turning on the lights when I'm trying to keep the lights down. Asking me all type of questions unnecessarily. Where's my shoes at? Where's my socks at? Why the hell am I supposed to know? I don't get how, you know what I'm saying? Again, I don't work here. I'm here for the partnership. I am not here for the job. Okay? I'm not your employee or your assistant. Okay? Because if I am going to be those things, then you're not going to be jumping up on top of me. Because, see, I don't work for a man that I sleep with. You understand? Those two things don't go together. And that's why it's 80% of women filing for divorce. I'm not sure what part y'all not getting, but hello? Hello? I'm not your assistant. I'm not your assistant, okay? I'm not your secretary. I'm not your appointment scheduler. And that's not about doing something nice because no one's asking you to do that. No one's expecting you to do that. So as long as that's the expectation, then the result of that expectation is likely going to be her not wanting to be there or finally just getting annoyed. That shit is frustrating, especially if she's already working. You know what I mean? And so this whole idea of, what if he pays all the bills? Enough of the what ifs, because he's not. He's not. He's not. And trust and believe, a part of my bills are always going to be certain things. And I will not be convinced. I've had men in my life watch me spend money on things and have a problem with it as if they're the one that gave the money out. I've had that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if I was you, first of all, let me stop you because you're not me. Okay? Okay? Somebody paying my bills is not enough because there's certain things I'm not going to go without just because my bills are being paid. Because I'm trying to pay my bills and still have certain things that I want. Those have to be a part of my bills as well. So if that's not going to be on his books, then again, what am I getting out of the scenario? Why am I here if I got to stop getting my nails done because it's stupid and it don't make sense? I'm not trying to make it make sense. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. Okay? If that's not something you want to pay, good. I'll pay it. But that's why I'm going to do what I want. Because everybody knows money is freedom. And I'm personally too free. Now, while I do not have money, the couple of dollars that I do have, if that's going to allow me to be able to say hell to the no, then that's what I'm going to be saying. I do come from a place of no, to be honest. It's much easier for me to say no than it is for me to say yes to things. That's just my truth. You know what I mean? Because I'm always wanting to know, why the hell you want me to do it? Yeah. You could name that whatever you need to name it. On my behalf, on your own behalf, that's fine with me. 758. That's fine with me. But so it is my suggestion that we all take a moment to adapt to the current environment that we're in, especially as it concerns dating. Because like I said in the beginning, Target's failure to adapt is why their shares are down by $83. Okay? Men's failure to adapt is why they believe there's a loneliness epidemic when it's not true. It's natural selection. Your failure to adapt will prompt natural selection to happen, and you will be left behind wondering what happened, what is going on, how come it's not, what about me? That's what you will be asking. That's what a lot of the males are asking, and it's because you don't even want to buy flowers. You don't even want to apologize when you picking me up from the airport late. Okay? Nobody wants to be picked up from the airport late, and I mean not anybody. Okay, an apology is necessary, especially if you have a time, even if traffic was the reason. Your unwillingness to adapt to that so that you could get what you want. People don't know how to play the long game, or even the midterm long game. You see what I'm saying? And so, your failure to adapt is always going to be your failure to get what you want out of the situation, and that's just the bottom line. You know what I mean? I have some other things to say, but I got to get to job right now. Because again, we're trying to make sure that the check clears and we stay out of jail. So what we're going to do today is we're not going to let nobody piss us off. Today's hump day. Let's go ahead and get over it. And let that be the case. Y'all have a good day and I will do the same. But like I said, there isn't a male loneliness epidemic. Y'all not as lonely as y'all are choosing to be. If you want a lady in your life, act like it. Say the things you need to say and be the person you need to be to get one. But if the idea is, I'm not getting ready to do all that, I'm not that type of person, well, then you have your answer. That's going to be your answer. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the answer to your loneliness, your unwillingness to do what a lady that you saying you like, your unwillingness to do that is going to be the reason you will not have one. Because we're not going backwards. Nobody's trying to go backwards in any capacity. Women are not trying to go back to a time where we can't get a bank account, where we can't get property. Just like black people aren't trying to go back to a time where we're out in the fields picking or can't go to somebody's store, or a dog or a hose is telling us what we can and can't do. Okay? I'm going to let y'all go. Y'all have a good day, and I will do the same, and I will see y'all sooner than later because, as you know, I can't pay the $5 on Friday, and tomorrow's only a half day for me. I told y'all before, I'm not leaving any money on the table. If they put my ass out again, I'm going to get all my time and all my coins before I go. Y'all have a good one, and I will do the same.